I froze when I heard the words. The sound of her laughter, sharp, almost mocking, echoed through the kitchen like a slap I couldn't dodge. My wife, the woman I had loved for 8 years, sat across from me at the table. Her lips curved into a half-smile, her eyes glinting with something that wasn't remorse. "Jason," she said like she was speaking to a child too slow to understand. "It was just one night. With another man. You'll get over it." The casual cruelty of it hit harder than the confession itself. I felt my chest tighten, my hands trembling against the edge of the table. One night. Just one night. As though the vows we'd exchanged, the trust I'd given, the future we were building, could be shrugged off like a misplaced jacket. The discovery. It hadn't started that night. For weeks, maybe months, something had been gnawing at me. Emma had grown distant. Not in the obvious way. She still kissed me before leaving for work, still cooked her favorite pasta on Fridays, still curled up next to me during movie nights. But beneath the routine, there was a hollowness. Her phone, once tossed carelessly on the couch, now rarely left her side. She stayed late at the office more often. She'd sigh at my touch, not pulling away, but not leaning in either. I told myself it was stress, that I was overthinking, that marriage ebbs and flows. But last Friday, while she showered, her phone buzzed on the counter. I never snooped. I'd sworn never to cross that line. But something in me cracked. My hand moved before I could stop it. The message glowed on the screen. "Last night was unforgettable. Can't stop thinking about you." I stood there, the steam from the bathroom wrapping around me, my pulse thundering in my ears. When she stepped out, towel wrapped around her, I just stared. She noticed. "What?" she asked too casually. I showed her the phone. Her eyes flickered, not with guilt but irritation, like I'd interrupted her mid-thought. The confrontation. That's what led to tonight's conversation at the kitchen table. I hadn't screamed. I hadn't accused. I needed her to say it wasn't true, that there was some misunderstanding. But instead, she leaned back in her chair, crossed her arms and laughed. "One night, Jason," she said again, shaking her head. "It didn't mean anything. He was just there. We'd had a fight, I'd had too much to drink, and well, you know how it goes." I swallowed hard, my throat dry. I don't know how it goes. I've never turned to someone else because of a fight. She rolled her eyes. "You're making this bigger than it is." Bigger than it is. The words clawed at me. Was I supposed to shrink my pain down to fit her narrative? Pretend my world hadn't just cracked in half? The aftermath of laughter. That night I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her with him. A faceless man, shadowed and indistinct, but real enough to poison everything we'd shared. I remembered our wedding day, how she'd cried when she said her vows, how she'd whispered, "It's you and me forever." Forever, it seemed, had an expiration date. At dawn, I sat on the couch, staring at the walls we'd painted together, the photos we'd framed, the life we'd built brick by fragile brick. And I asked myself the question I never thought I would. Can love survive betrayal? Trying to understand. The next evening I asked her again, this time calmly, almost pleadingly. "Why, Emma? Why him? Why that night?" She sighed, her tone sharp with impatience. "Do we really need to dissect this? I told you, it didn't mean anything. But it means something to me." My voice cracked. "It means everything to me." She looked at me then, softer but still distant. "Jason, you're a good man. You always have been. But sometimes, it feels like you're too much in your head. Too serious. I just wanted something different. Just once. Something different. Just once." As though I were a book she'd grown bored of, needing a new story to flip through for a night. A shift. The more I tried to talk, the clearer it became. She wasn't sorry. Not really. There were no tears, no desperate apologies, no promises to fight for us. Just a resigned shrug, a dismissal of my pain. And that hurt more than the act itself. Because betrayal wasn't only the night she spent with another man. It was the way she treated my heartbreak as trivial. disposable. Cracks in the foundation. Days turned into weeks, each one heavier than the last. I found myself watching her when she thought I wasn't looking, searching for signs of love, of regret, of anything. But Emma carried on as though nothing had happened. She still went to work, still chatted with her friends, still scrolled through her phone while I sat in silence. Sometimes I'd catch her humming while cooking dinner, and it twisted something inside me. How could she be so normal when I was falling apart? One night I asked, "Do you even want to stay married to me?" She paused, spatula in hand, then shrugged. "Of course. Why wouldn't I? Because you broke us," I wanted to scream. "Because I can't breathe without feeling the weight of your betrayal. Because I don't know how to look at you without seeing him." But the words stayed locked in my chest. The breaking point. The breaking point came 3 weeks later. We were at dinner with friends, laughing, drinking wine. For a moment I let myself forget. I let myself believe we were still us. Then in the car ride home she laughed again, that same sharp, careless laugh, and said, "See? I told you everything would go back to normal. You're already getting over it." That was when I knew. I wasn't getting over it. I was drowning in it. And she couldn't or wouldn't throw me a rope. The decision. That night I packed a bag. She watched from the doorway, arms folded, expression unreadable. "Really, Jason?" she asked. "You're leaving? Over one night?" I zipped my suitcase, my hands steadier than I expected. "No, Emma. I'm leaving because you laughed. 'Cause you made my pain a joke. Because you decided that my love was something you could gamble for a night of. Something different." She scoffed, shaking her head. "You'll regret this." Maybe I would. Maybe I wouldn't. But in that moment the weight lifted. Not entirely, but enough to take the first step out the door. Aftermath. The weeks that followed were messy. Divorce papers. Dividing assets. Friends taking sides. Late-night tears in the quiet of my new apartment. I thought the loneliness would crush me. Some nights it nearly did. But slowly, I realized loneliness was better than living with someone who mocked my hurt. Pain doesn't vanish. Trust doesn't rebuild overnight. But dignity, that's something I could hold on to. The final encounter. Months later we ran into each other at the grocery store. She smiled like nothing had happened. "How've you been, Jason?" she asked lightly. I met her gaze, steady now. Stronger. Healing. For the first time, I saw a flicker of something in her eyes. Not regret, maybe, but recognition that I was no longer the man she could laugh at and expect to stay. I walked away, leaving her standing there among the aisles. And for the first time in a long time I felt free. Betrayal isn't just the act. It's the dismissal of the wound it leaves. Emma's affair didn't just break our marriage. Her laughter did. Because love can survive mistakes, can even survive infidelity. But it cannot survive mockery, dismissal, or the absence of remorse. That night when she laughed and said, "It was just one night, you'll get over it," she was wrong. I didn't get over it. Got out.